Audubon 2456.
State of the Save is back, everybody. Very, very happy to be back here. Looking forward to another awesome episode. We are playing Sleeping Dogs, which is awesome because I tell you, this is going to be really great. But luckily, I am not alone in this conversation about Sleeping Dogs. Let's start off with you, Michael. Introduce yourself. How you been doing?
I've been doing great.
That's great, man. That's great. And also, to my left on the internet, keeping the internet still running, Nick, tell everybody how you've been doing.
I've been doing great.
Awesome. Nick is once again keeping the internet running, keeping the zeros and the ones in the line there. Man, it's been a week, guys. It's been really fun. It's always good to be back on the show. Before we start the normal talk, first thing, I got important business to talk about up front. I have been taking unknown amounts of grief about my choice of how we got the email. stateofthesave@gmail.com, where you can send emails and talk to us and all that fun stuff. We now also own, just so people would shut up and stop talking to me about it, we also now own stateofthesave@gmail.com also.
You didn't look my direction, but I felt that was pointed in my direction.
That's pointed at both of you. Both of you. You know, I sent out the response ahead of time saying, hey, here's the email, State of Save. And everybody was quiet. And then about 2-3 days later, everybody's like, a real intelligent thing would have been to put State of the Save. And then nobody else went and secured it. So finally, I had to go lock it down. It was very hot.
I thought we were just committing.
Nah, I was.
It was a pretty good bit, but
it was a pretty good bit until I realized that someone else might lock it down in front of us. And then there's a podcast I listened to one time who had their Twitter handle locked down, and they had to buy it off of some guy. And I'm like, I'm not gonna buy an email handle off of anybody, so I went ahead and locked it down. But see, that was the chances for the listeners. They could have got some money out of us, but not today, listeners. Not today. Yeah, so now State of the Save is also available for all your emailing needs. So anytime you want to tell us how wrong we are about video games, you can send it to both of those addresses.
Why don't we just stick with the new one? Just commit. Just
no. I have sentimental attachment to State of Save.
You're really just gonna sit around and check 2 emails.
Well, it doesn't take that. I mean, yeah, I am actually. I'm committed. One's the business email.
Do you?
One's like the email for like, hey, if you're a guest on this show, we've got some guests coming up, so that's like going to be the guest email. The other one's going to be like the general public email.
But you're also not going to discern which one is which.
No,
that's for you to decide.
That's for the listeners to decide. It's going to be like a fun game where the listeners are like, hey, I sent an email to State of the Save.
This sounds like more work on our part, trying to discern who we gave which email to which person. This is more work on us.
What's going to really happen is the listeners are going to get like double emails back from us because they'll send it to State of the Save, and Michael will send a response, and then I'll see it later and send a response, and then you'll get a response from Nick, and you'll get 3 responses to all your emails.
Don't promise people that, please.
No, we're not going to give you 3 responses. You'll get 1. You will get 1, but you will not get 3.
Maybe 2.
Maybe 2.
Depends on how we're feeling.
No, let's not give 2 either, because then people are going to get mad. Like, somebody's going to get 2, and somebody else is going to get 1, and it'll be a whole thing.
This weekly meetup that all of our fans do, and talk about how they got the responses from all the people on the show.
All of our fans.
Wait, you got 2?
There's not going to be there's not a sub Discord for State of the Save yet. It's like where they talk junk about the going-ons of State of the Save. Man. Maybe they have one. They just haven't told us yet.
I want to be popular enough to have a hate subreddit one day. Just people who
do not say that. Please do not say that.
There's a fast track to that. You could just be a terrible person.
Yeah. I mean, Michael, you could just say some really crappy things and you'll get yourself a hate subreddit. Oh, man.
Might have been a little dramatic.
So that's 5 minutes of talk about an email on a video game podcast.
The content people want to hear.
Yeah, the content everybody came to. Let's hear about the emails. Today we have the first episode of our Sleeping Dogs discussion. Once again, we're playing up through chapter 10. But before we get to that, let's do the round the horn. Starting with you, Nick. what you got going on in the world of video games or just life in general?
In the world of video games, I am on my retraction cycle where I am leaving League of Legends for 2 weeks, and then in pursuit of that, I downloaded Overwatch again.
Okay, Overwatch and me had like a very passionate affair for about 3 years, and then it went horrible. And I think I just I took it off my hard drive in like a spit of anger and rage.
Things were said, things you shouldn't have said.
Yeah, there was an album written about our relationship and how it fell apart. You know, it was just rough.
It's funny that you say that, Michael, because the last time I played Overwatch is when I got a chat ban. And I was just like, okay, I think I'm done with this.
Do you want to tell people how you got a chat ban?
I mean, it's not a huge thing, but like, there's all chat on PC, so that just really opens up a lot of invitations for shit talk to the other team. What you do is just start the game and say, you're my nemesis, and you pick one person, and you just kill that person every time.
You know,
people take that personally.
That's how I make my friends.
If it's like a you know, like a good natured shit talk, that's
yeah,
fine.
I keep it lighthearted.
Like, I mean, I know
think.
you're not gonna be like personally attacking anybody, so
No.
if anything, you'll be done primarily for humor's sake. I mean,
I thought it was hilarious, but you know.
Yeah, apparently Overwatch did not.
Your nemesis is always the healer, by the way. You just always pick the healer. They never catch on.
Because they can't do anything to
Everybody goes to the
exactly.
healer.
You always focus the healer.
Well, that's actually just sound strategy.
Exactly.
So, what is Overwatch like in 2021?
That is a good question. I feel like my personal experience is I jumped into a couple of quick match games. Those are... If you want to play that game, play quick match, honestly. Quick play is where it's at. I think the competitive scene is kind of done for. They did a weird thing where they rolled back their decision to only force you into 3 queues. There's two competitive...
Really?
Yeah, there's 2 competitive hoppers now, and one of them's called open queue and one of them's called roll queue, which is what used to be that thing where they were like, we can't beat goats, so we're just going to make you play different roles.
You know, we're going to get like super in some meta talk.
Yeah.
Because that's actually, I think, what caused me to jump off that game. Because, like, at a high level, the GOAT strategy was the only thing anybody used. At, like, above, platinum maybe?
Yeah.
It's like when you got above platinum. But if you were in, well, I was like platinum, gold, platinum, that kind of range, most seasons. Like, you didn't always see GOAT because those teams were not coordinated enough necessarily to always pull it off, you know? So, like, the random guy who just, like, comes in with Junkrat and, you know, fucks everybody's shit up could break it. But I get that, like, at a high level, but to me, that's a design problem. Congratulations.
100%.
Now, you need to create some characters that beat GOAT. Like,
Yeah, so that's what I got down to the entire time. I was just like, this is literally what it seems like is, oh, wow, we can't find a way to balance 3 tanks and 3 DPS or whatever that is. And so we're just going to, like, negate that option for you. No, you have to play 2 DPS, 2 tanks, 2 healers.
And I think it really took away some of the fun, just wild, crazy comps that you would get in there, where you would just get like a Pharah, a Junkrat, a Soldier 76, a Marcy, and like a Reinhardt and a Roadhog or something crazy, you know?
Yeah.
And it made the game kind of like a sport. And at the end of the day, this is a competitive shooter. And it's not really something I feel like I don't need to have a point guard in every single game. That's not what this is. And it kind of robbed some of the fun of the game for me. And they kind of forced that even in quick play, didn't they? Didn't they kind of?
Yeah, that was a across the board implementation, if I'm not mistaken.
And also, if I was correct, the DPS queues were so freaking long.
Because everybody wants to play DPS.
Yeah, but so it was a situation for me, like if I was hopping in to play a couple games, I would just pick tank or healer just because at least I can get in and play. Yeah. Instead of sitting for 5 minutes between games trying to play DPS. And yeah, it feels like they started taking that game so seriously that it kind of robbed it of some of the fun for people. What I feel is the average player, like Rainbow Six kind of runs into a similar vibe. I love Siege a lot and I play a lot of it, but like playing competitive compared to quick play, you're getting into spots where there's some heroes in competitive you just never will play.
Right.
Because they will always ban them. And there's like one hero out of all of them that needs to actually be banned because it's kind of a cheap character. But the rest of them are just like characters that people are told are bad.
Yeah.
So they will constantly like a character like Jackal is not that bad. Like there's counters to him, but everyone's told that he's a bad character, so no one ever plays him in competitive. It's just sometimes you gotta remember this is still a video game, and your average player is not, I think, playing at the level that they're balancing the game towards. If that makes any sense at all. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what made me fall off that.
I would agree with you. So even like today, and I guess I should mention it's probably been about 2 years since I actually played the game. You would run into a situation where it is the exact same thing. Like even in open queue, it's actually just back to goats. When in reality, they could have just implemented a pick ban situation like they did in any other game that wants to be a quote-unquote esport. Like if you have a pick ban system, there's 3 heroes that they're always playing, those people are either going to get picked or banned. So that automatically opens up that meta.
That is something I think Siege does better, is Siege does do a pick ban, where you ban 2 offensive and 2 defensive characters. I have hit or miss on like that in quick play. I feel like maybe quick play, and there is a mode in Rainbow Six where you don't have that option, like it's just free for all. But for the standard game, you still have it. I think that's a better solution to the problem than not, just forcing people into roles. Because I think also when you come down to like people leaving games mid-game, you're going to get that more often if someone's forced into a role they don't actually want to play.
Exactly, yeah.
If you don't want to play healer really, really bad, you just hate that role, you're going to be more likely to jump ship once the game starts to go south than if you are playing a character that at least you enjoy playing,
Yeah.
You like playing Widowmaker, so you're going to hang around because you like playing Widowmaker. But if you're forced to play a healer, you're forced to play Lucio, you're going to jump more likely.
I agree.
Other than that, anything else?
Oh man, that's pretty much it for video games. I don't want to steer the ship too far, but I just watched Avatar: The Last Airbender in its entirety.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. I had to get it out there. I had to tell the world. I haven't seen it since I was a child. That show holds up. And The Legend of Korra, even better, bro.
I feel like that's controversial.
That's controversial? Legend of Korra has better
better
animation. I mean, it's 10 years older. It's going to be better, I feel like. But it holds up. Both of them hold up well.
Is this a situation where you can watch Legend of Korra without Avatar?
Yeah,
you can.
Give a good. They give a good recap at the beginning. It's just that a lot of the first episodes are like catching up with characters who are still alive. It's catching up with characters who are still alive who were around in Last Airbender. So you're gonna miss out on that kind of like that little bit of fan service near the beginning, but it won't affect the story really at all.
Okay.
They are both 2 kind of self-contained stories, though, which is why I actually enjoy both of them differently.
Gotcha.
Because it's just 2 different time periods, and you can watch one without the other, I'd say.
Okay. Like I said, I never got into it, but I'm always happy when people are like super into stuff. So good for you, man.
Thanks.
Right on. Right on. I didn't see that one coming, so I was kind of thrown off. Like I didn't think we were gonna have Avatar talk come here. But we also spent
Avatar talk.
We also
Platinum
spent 5 minutes. No. I think I have one of those because you could get 1,000 achievement points real easy, and like it was like the hottest game on GameFly for a while because everybody wanted it. Because in like 5 minutes, you could get 1,000 achievement points. So like for some reason, this one Avatar game was never available on GameFly because
I'm not
everybody's
going
trying
to
to
drag GameFly because it's a perfectly viable service, especially back in the days where Blockbuster and Family Video were going downhill. But like, can you imagine being the guy who was like, I'm going to subscribe to this every month just so I can get my gamer score up?
There was a time when
2007 was time.
And then somebody hacked an Xbox 360 and all that meant nothing.
Yeah, somebody just like bolt themselves a couple mil. But like there was a time in like EGM and stuff, they were doing interviews with like the top gamer score people. Like here's the guys competing for the highest gamer scores on Xbox.
The first guy to hit 1 million. Yeah, that was a historic moment.
He got gold for life.
Yeah.
I remember
which is kind of weird because now you just have Game Pass. So like, I wonder how he feels.
Is it bundled into Game Pass, or does he have to subscribe to Game Pass separately? I imagine they set that dude up.
I hope they did.
That's what it was, man. This Game Pass is just trying to cut that one guy off.
That's what
free rides over.
They realized that like all these years he's been getting free going. That's a really good segue into my game I want to talk about. Usually I go to Michael, but I'm gonna go second real quick because Michael has a time limit on him. But I had to go on one of those achievement websites recently. I did not know they still existed. But we have been talking about, for the past couple of shows, I've been talking about that I've been fiddling around with Katana Zero, which is a game that I can now officially put my foot down and say, everybody at this table and everybody listening to my voice needs to go play some Katana Zero. It is a fascinating video game with a level of insanity in its story that rivals a Metal Gear.
Go on.
Yeah, it's very good. I tried to play some of the what was it? Cyber Shadow, Nick, was the game you suggested last time.
Yeah.
And I played some of that after I had played Katana Zero, and this is no shot at all at Cyber Shadow. It seems like a really, really fun game, but it's similar enough to the kind of Katana Zero vibe without all that extra stuff that game puts in there that it just didn't really catch me.
Yeah.
I feel like if you like any of those kind of side scroller retro redo kind of games, you have to play Katana Zero. It's very, very good. It is, like I said, it's a very story heavy game for what it is. But the reason why I say the achievement thing, I got the first achievement in like this really random spot, and it was kind of like because I found an Easter egg, and all the achievements on there are secrets. So I was like, well, I wonder if there's Easter eggs in all these missions I've been missing. So I went to the achievement website to see like what the achievements actually were, to see if I've been missing Easter eggs or not. And boy, those websites are still like, they're still digging. Like they still got people in the comments section being like, it's been 2 days since this game's released, and I've yet to see the achievement list on here. What's wrong? How can I get the, I didn't know people were that diehard still. But all that's to say, everybody needs to play Katana Zero. It's very, very fun. It's very cool. Story-wise, it's very interesting. I believe it's actually, if I read somewhere correctly, I believe it was the fastest-selling game Devolver Digital has released so far. And if it's not the fastest I know it was like in the top 3 for their sales, and it is planned on getting a sequel coming up, I think next year. So it's it actually did pretty well, but which is odd because I didn't hear a ton of talk about it. Compared to like The Messenger and games like that, where when they came out you heard about them. This kind of flew under my radar at least. Maybe I'm just not listening to the right people, but if you guys take one thing from this crazy beginning of this show, take that Katana Zero is something worth checking out. It's on Game Pass. It's on Switch, I believe. It's on, pretty much everything.
I'm going to check it out at some point. The main thing is I just completed The Messenger not too long ago, and I feel like that style of like 2D action might just be a bit of a similar vibe.
It's not the same thing as The Messenger because it's about perfecting your run. because it's a one-hit death kind of. It's about
like a Hotline Miami style,
sort
like
of, yeah, because you die and you go
puzzle
right back.
room essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Each room is more of a puzzle of how you're going to beat it. At the beginning of the game, you're going to feel very much like it's not like that because you can kind of brute force it.
Okay.
But once the game starts getting farther along in its story, you're going to start getting into situations like where you have boss fights where you can't take a hit because you're supposed to figure it out in and because what the system of the game is, the main character can kind of like perceive time ahead of time. He can see the future.
Oh.
And so every time you die in your normal run, he's basically figuring out which ways of doing it that's incorrect and how he's going to get himself killed. And when you actually succeed in clearing a room, he's like, okay, yeah, that's right. That's how I'll do it. And it'll show you a replay of that one as if that's how he actually went about the business.
Okay.
Oh, that's interesting.
That sounds really cool. All right.
So every run in the room is actually like a failed timeline. And he's like, okay, that's not right. That's not right. That's not right. But every time you actually complete the room,
like
that's a timeline that he actually...
like a hyperactive version of the Prince of Persia's storytelling device.
Yeah, it's got like a VHS style aesthetic of a rewind.
Ooh.
The only thing I will say about this is anybody who is prone to seizures, the game is upfront about this at the beginning of the game, and you can take off a lot of the effects that the game uses if you want to. Mm-hmm. Now, if I suggest you play it with the effects because I think the effects are really, really cool. But I will say this, I actually played it one time where I had like a sinus headache, and the effects of like, sometimes you'll enter a room that like the first entry into the room can kill you. And so if you're dying repeatedly trying to figure out how to get past that first guy, it's like information overload on the rewind, and it can make you sick. And I imagine if you have a prone to seizures or anything like that, this game can trigger that pretty easy. With the VHS effects and things like that, especially as you progress in the story, there's going to be moments in which the VHS effects are being used throughout the story because you encounter characters that can also control time. I would take it seriously. You know, every video game has that, like, hey, if you're prone to seizures, you know, be careful. This is one that I would actually take it very seriously because I could see it triggering somebody pretty easy. But don't let that persuade you. There was ways to take off those effects to still be able to enjoy the game. But yeah, I really, really want to push this one. I held back because the game doesn't show its cards super early. And I wanted to make sure that the game wasn't what I thought it was, which was kind of simplistic. Once the game showed off what it's about, man, there's got some freaking ball of stuff in this here video game. So Katana Zero, man, gets the Eric approval and Eric's suggestion. Everybody should go play some Katana Zero. So, after this long thing, Michael, I am going to start the timer at 20.
Grab a sandwich real quick.
Yeah, you be grabbing a sandwich. Get me grabbing sandwiches still in the middle of the show. No, we talked about this ahead of time. At 23:30, I'm gonna start the timer. You have 5 minutes to talk about what you're about to talk about.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
So Persona 5 Royal is insane, is beautiful, and I think I absolutely love this game with about 11 hours or so behind my belt. So, essentially the gameplay loop, at first I was a bit worried it would be a little too similar to Persona 4 Golden, but I feel like the vibe is different enough from Persona 4 to where I am not like it doesn't feel like it's repeating itself too much, and I feel like I played that way back in 2014, so it's been about 6 or 7 years since I played Persona 4 Golden, to where I feel like I've had enough time separating it to where like I'm back in, and like just the gameplay loop of a Persona game is satisfying and really cool, especially this one, because this game, last time we talked about, I said I played through the beginning, and the beginning starts with a casino heist, like right out of the gate, like just a few minutes in, you're like escaping a robbed casino, and then it cuts back to where you're in school building up to the casino heist. that you were in.
Wait, these are high schoolers doing a casino heist?
Yeah, it's a high.
It's always high schoolers.
Well, not. Let me explain. So, so as I was saying with Persona 4, you're going to the Midnight Channel to like investigate these murders and everything. This game operates on like there is a weird app that appears on your phone which allows you to connect to the metaverse, which is a flipped version of our reality, to where our deepest, like darkest, like amalgamations of ourselves like run wild, and if one gets wild enough, when evil enough, it makes what's called a palace, and the king or queen of that palace is someone from the real world whose dark desires got too much to the point where they manifested and is like causing a ripple effect.
So you're saying this basically has what's called the warp in Warhammer, where all the emotions of people in the real world goes to the warp and forms things inside the warp.
Probably. I will take your word for that.
We are reinvested. Put down my sandwich. Let's talk about this. What's going on?
So the gameplay loop in Persona is you go to class, you learn things, you advance your friendships with people to get better stats and everything that help you in the world and can help you in combat, because if you get better... if you become better friends with somebody, they give you XP boosts in battle whenever you have a persona that aligns with their their arcana. And but the main gameplay loop is you find somebody in the story who has a palace, basically someone with like dark desires. Like, spoilers here for the first section, but skip ahead. Like, the first guy you meet is the volleyball coach, who is behind the scenes like abusing his students and sexually harassing the girl students and everything, and the teachers won't do anything and the parents won't do anything because he's like, he wins championships, he gets results, so no one wants to do anything. And of course the kids are too scared to step up, so of course he has a palace and everything. So when you go to the metaverse, it's like a castle and he's the king of that castle, and he's just ruling over all the metaverse versions of the students are like working the castle as like slaves and stuff. So what you do is you have to pull a heist. You have to break into the castle using like kind of sneaky, stealthy, like JRPG mechanics, like you're sneaking up behind shadows and like ripping their masks off to do like a battle. And if you sneak on successfully, you get a different battle theme, which is more like vibrant and in your face, versus Last Surprise, which is a great tune. But so you break in, you steal, you have to you gotta case the place. You gotta go through basically the entire dungeon before you get to the final boss room where the treasure is. And then, you can't steal the treasure unless the person is aware of something is wrong with them, because they have to know and be willing to change before you can steal the treasure, which is their
30
heart.
seconds.
You gotta steal their heart. So you send them a calling card that says, "We're the Phantom Thieves. We're coming to steal your heart." And they're like, "Wait, what?" So then you break in, you steal the heart, and of course you face the final boss, and you get out, and it repeats, and that's the gameplay loop of Persona 5. It is awesome. Just the fact that you're a group of thieves called the Phantom Thieves of hearts specifically, and you go and steal people's hearts so that they become better people. It's pretty amazing.
Okay.
Time.
Congratulations, you hit it almost on 5 minutes. That's freaking impressive. I have 3 questions.
Yes.
Only 3?
We're going. Okay. We're going to keep it to 3, because somewhere someone's like, they spent 5 minutes talking on freaking emails, and now they spent 30 minutes talking about Persona 5. No. 1, when you steal their heart, you steal like the stuff from the metaverse.
Yes.
Does it like make the person in the real world a good person?
Well, it doesn't mean we make them a good person. They have to have the will to change. If you kill the basically in the story, you don't have the choice, but if you kill their darker self, you're basically killing their hearts and they die. So you got to willingly like make them want to make the change.
So there is repercussions in the real world.
Yeah, there is repercussions. Like if you mess them up too much, they could like go insane.
Because
which is very possible. They even say like, "Oh, this might make them change."
past 5 minutes.
Okay,
Past 5 minutes.
Okay.
Because I have some weird things about the fact like this guy's doing bad stuff in the real world, and then we're like his heart changed in the metaverse, and now he's a good guy. And we're gonna let him off.
No, there's repercussions for everything.
Okay, I'm just making sure because for a second there I was like, I'm not so sure how we might have to cut some of this. So basically, you're getting them, but you're getting them through the metaverse instead of through the real world. Okay, so there's repercussions to the bad things.
Because again, he has to know in order to steal his heart. He has to know or be aware
We're
that
not
we
even
know
gonna,
something is
we're
wrong.
not going to even touch that.
Okay.
We're not going to touch that. Is every single palace a casino heist, or is there varying depending on which palace it is?
I've only done the first palace in 11 hours. So
last question.
But this was a castle heist. It was not a casino like at the beginning of the game. You were robbing a castle. And
last question.
The heart manifested as a crown.
Okay, last question.
Okay.
I don't think you understand that. We got to keep this rolling.
Okay.
Last question. Does this game, it seems like this game is handling some very touchy subjects. Do you feel like it handles it in a good way, or does it handle it in like a kind of breezy way? Like I could see because they're basically making analogs to like the real world, right? Do you I feel like it could go one or two ways how that comes across, and like the tone needs to be.
I think the tone is there. It doesn't feel jarring or like weird. I mean, the subject matter is a bit like jarring in some ways. Like, of course, it's like, oh man, he's doing all this stuff. Why hasn't anybody spoken up about it and everything? But you do talk to the students and you can tell there's something wrong because they even after it's successful, they come up to you. It's like, I couldn't stand up to him. Thank you for what you they don't know it's you specifically. It's like, man, I have to thank the Phantom Thieves. We don't know who they are, but it's weird that just a calling card showed up and now he's changed. Maybe the Phantom Thieves are real. So you do have the repercussions of that, and people who are seeking mental health after all this stuff is seeking rehabilitation after all this stuff is played out.
Does kind of it plays it in a way
as good as you can, probably in a game as weird as this.
Okay. That would be my one concern. I don't want to be that would I was when you mentioned that particular one, I was like, ooh, you could really be tone deaf about this one. But as long as it has it takes some effort to try to be a little bit,
I'd say so.
Okay.
A game as weird as this, it handles probably the best it can and with the most nuance it can.
Okay.
In a game as strange as this, where you're robbing people's hearts in heists.
Yeah. I just wanted, I was like, ooh, that's kind of a weird thing to mix with robbing people's hearts in the metaverse. But
with a very jazzy soundtrack.
Yeah. I've heard. Soundtrack's pretty good.
Soundtrack's amazing.
All right. So we're done. That's your overtime.
I apologize, everybody.
You got overtime on that one. Oh. We were going to talk a little bit about the Nintendo Direct, but I think we should probably maybe move that to the end of the show.
Yeah.
Let's get to what we're here to do, all right? We're here to talk about some serious business. We're here to talk about the video game Sleeping Dogs. Michael is a aficionado of this game. He's played through it multiple times. He's owned it on a bunch of different stuff. I think, Nick, you started it at one point but never really got that far into it. This is my first time playing it. I'm going to go ahead. Let's just do the rounds real quick. What's everybody thinking about Sleeping Dogs? Nick, tell me what you thought about the first part of Sleeping Dogs here.
So, like you said, I played a little bit of this back when it came out on the 360, and then it was also released as a Games with Gold title. I do not remember enjoying this game as much as I do now. This game is really good. I didn't feel that way the first time I played it, but maybe it just grew on me.
It's shockingly good to me for it holds up, and it does stuff in an open world game that modern day open world games don't even do well. I
knew you were gonna bring it up.
Let me get Michael. I mean, I guess I could ask you, but you've already expressed your love of this game.
I really enjoyed this game, and one thing I want to say that I really like, I didn't pay attention to the story since the first time I played it, which was around the year it came out, so 12, I'd say, so about almost 10 years. So, because a few times I was just like, I just want to breeze through this. So, yeah, but I'm surprised how well the story really tells itself. There's some really tense moments here, but we'll discuss that as we go. But yeah,
I want to say something about the open world, and I know Nick's already alluded to this. And I'm not trying to beat a dead horse. I'm not. I'm really not.
I'll preface it with this is the exact same thought that I had whenever I played this game.
Okay, so I'm not the only one. When I was playing through this video game, I could not help but think to myself about Cyberpunk. Because I talked about how when I went into Cyberpunk, I really wanted the open world to mean something and be fun and interesting and enjoyable and somewhere I can get lost in, kind of like The Witcher 3 was, how the better parts of Mass Effect are, things like that. This open world for Hong Kong, for a very grounded setting, that's not fantasy at all. It's fascinating. It's cool. It's got parts of it that's interesting to explore. When it starts to rain and people are they're holding papers over their heads, or they got their umbrellas out, and you're flying down the street on your motorcycle at night. It's a fascinating, cool world to be in. That a game like Cyberpunk I didn't feel good going through that world, and here even just going to a mission, it just feels good. Feels right.
They did the right choice with arcadey car feel versus semi car feel. Like when you hit that drift around a corner, it feels really good.
Or when the fact that there's random construction places where you can hit jumps. My favorite vehicle in this game is not actually the motorcycle or the cars. It's actually the little mopeds, because I feel like that's the level of mobility I need in this world, to cut between traffic and stuff. And also the game does something really cool because you're playing as an undercover cop. It encourages you to drive safely.
Yeah.
The game penalizes you in ways for hitting stuff more than a normal, a Grand Theft Auto, where if you run over people in Grand Theft Auto, the cops will come after you. And here it's hey, you're still a cop. You don't want to be causing a bunch of anarchy in the streets, so we'll give you bonuses for driving safely. Which is something I always kind of enjoy in open world games, where it's hey, try to drive like a real person. The problem is I'm from the United States, and the streets are opposite in Hong Kong than here, and so I constantly think I'm pulling out into the right direction, only to be coming straight on into oncoming traffic.
I do that with cars all the time.
Yeah, I do. It's just my natural tendency to be driving on that side of the road, and I was oh crap, I'm in oncoming traffic right here. But the open world events, the ones that are just your little side mission, get some experience stuff, even those are cool. You'll have one where it's a lady who's broke down on the side of the road, and she asks you to look under a hood, and when you're looking under the hood, some guy runs by and steals your wallet. Or stuff like that, where they're just little bit of extra behind them than just walking up to somebody and they're there's a guy who stole a wallet, go get him, kind of open world design. It just gives you a little bit more fluff. And then I asked you last time, Michael, I'm going to challenge you on something. I think the cop missions are kind of must-plays.
They're better than I remember them being, for sure. You have to do the first cup. You have to take down Popstar.
Yeah.
But I believe the street racing ones, it wouldn't let me do 2 of those. I think there's still a third one of those coming. I think it's locked.
I think it's 4, because if you look at it after the mission, it brings up stages, and it's got 4 lines.
Right. Okay.
Could be wrong. But
I think some of the cop missions are a lot behind story progression, because I could only do 2 whenever we finished mission 10 at this point. Yeah.
Nick, are you doing any of the cop missions that obviously you have to do the 1, but are you doing any of those?
Yeah, so I've been doing the case files are mandatory. I don't do a lot of the cop jobs just because they just seem to be filling meters to get upgrades in your tree or whatever. They're not bad, but I was initially trying to kind of mainline this.
I like how
I've changed my head on this a little bit just because this game is a lot better than I remember. and they kind of do a better job of like building the world. Like people, you walk through the streets and people like are shilling to you in the night market. Like they take better care. I think so. I'm a little more invested than I was initially, but I haven't done a lot of the cop jobs, which are just like the badges.
I like how Wei is, to keep consistency, is in full riot getup whenever you're doing cop missions, just to hide his identity.
Well,
it makes sense in the game. I think that's really cool that they like. There's no like,
there's no like the breaking the
breaking the story.
Yeah, the story for the side missions.
Yeah.
Like in some video games where you'll do a side mission for the cult in like Oblivion, and then you'll go do a side mission for the Fighters Guild, and like nobody questions why you're the same guy killing a bunch of people.
It is weird that you can get like cop vehicles in your parking garage and like pull up the main story missions in the cop car. But
I did pull up to some triad missions in a cop car, and that's just the funniest thing.
Yeah, that one's a little weird. That kind of blows my theory right there.
I think Wei's an undercover cop. What do you mean?
He just pulls up in a cop car.
Sirens blazing.
I want to say also, if you do some of the cop missions, you can get wardrobe options that are cop stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can wear that
true.
to the triad missions, but that might also blow out.
There's some shoes that don't look particularly copy, but you get cop XP bonuses from them. That's like
they have like set bonuses and stuff.
Yeah.
My favorite thing is they do some kind of care with that. Like even doing the pop star mission, they make sure that like you have to like go under the disguise. Mm-hmm. You know, get some clothes that look more like somebody else, so you don't just look like Wei.
You disguise yourself as a homeless man to go on the docks, and Wei acts drunk and everything, and like throws up on one of the guards.
Also, kind of a must thing in my mind is collecting the statues, so you can get the upgrades in your combat. Mm-hmm. Because the combat is very reminiscent of the Batman combat from those games.
Is Batman mixed with Bully? Because in Bully you had the 5-punch combo, but you could hold any of the buttons down. It would do a variation move. It's very similar. Like you can hit square twice, and then when you hit square when you hold square the third time, he does a trip. Or if you do 3 and then hold it, you do a knee that stuns them, and then you can follow it up with a really satisfying high kick to the chin.
Yeah,
which is always really good.
My favorite thing about that, because when I first started the combat, I felt kind of underwhelmed. I was like, this is all it is. But as you start to get the upgrades and you start to get the kind of the combos, I guess, but like it's a little bit less than like hitting multiple buttons.
Then they start to vary the enemies because they have the grapplers that you can't grab, and they have the brawlers that you can't punch.
Yeah.
So when you're in the flow of combat, like you have to be considerate about those things, and it really adds a strategic layer to that sort of thing.
Also, they make guys with weapons mean something. Like so many video games, a guy comes at you with a knife, no big deal. Here, if you're in the middle of a fight and a guy grabs a knife, that's a problem. And guns, and they make comments about that towards the end of this section, that like because this is set in Hong Kong where firearms are not as common, like a guy with a gun is a problem.
It's literally a third of the game before they hand a gun to you.
Yeah, so like it really plays up like the power of a firearm in this world. And I don't know how that's going to be going forward. I don't know if we're going to be doing a lot of shooting or not. But it's a really smart combat design that gets a lot better as you unlock the different attacks. And the throws into items.
The environmental takedowns are amazing.
Hitting dudes into like urinals. Throwing dudes into freaking like electrical panels.
The air conditioning unit's my favorite at this point in the game.
It's brutal.
He just like slams his head.
I have a note here that says you throw a guy into a air conditioning unit, and it's like something out of the Punisher video game from the PlayStation 2, where he would hit dudes with like table drills and saws.
You had to line up the control stick just right to make sure you drown the guy effectively.
Yeah, that Punisher game is something.
It would be worse if they made you like tap a button for each of these takedowns or something.
Yeah, I'm glad they don't, but like dude, the fight, there was a section where you do a fight in the bathroom and like throwing guys into toilets and urinals, and man, fighting in this game is awesome. They nail that kung fu movie.
The improvisational. I'm going to use my environment to my advantage.
Yeah.
I'm going to kick guys into things. I'm going to.
Well, Wei also he just the way he moves in the environment. I love the parkour kind of stuff because that's also a very big kung fu movie thing. But when he's running through and he's jumping over stuff, and then your guy turns to fight you, and you just started off with a running knee strike, and oh man, it's I really enjoy how the combat looks in this game, and
they know the John Woo vibe.
And if you do, I suggest doing the Fight Club stuff.
Yes,
like I did the first one. I was fiddling around with the game a little bit before because I finished it a little bit earlier, so I wanted to do some side stuff, and the Fight Club stuff, man, is just a cool excuse to be throwing guys against walls and beating guys down, and it's a really cool thing. And this game is freaking awesome just in the way it presents itself. Anything before we get into story anybody wants to throw out?
The one thing I like about the combat is that I've been playing a lot of Spider-Man, and that's reminiscent of the Arkham games. You have a lot of gadgets and tools in the combat. Wei just has his fists and maybe a weapon, so there's really no crowd control option, so all you have to do is just watch the people beside him. You can lock on and do some he can kick behind him to do a little bit of crowd control, but it nails that kung fu movie vibe where it's just I'm going to take down just a bunch of dudes with my fists and using the environment, and it's so cool. There's some really funny weapons that appear later on that you can it really captures that Jackie Chan vibe of him just grabbing anything he sees and just using it. So there's I won't spoil some of the really cool ones you're gonna see.
I was about to say I actually was going to look at watching some Jackie Chan movies now because of this game kind of giving me those vibes of, because Wei kind of has a lot of moments where he's in these fights where he's kind of, the game does a good job of making it seem like he's winging it as he's going, you know. Mm-hmm. Weapon-wise, we haven't got our hands on a ton of cool weapons. If you do the cop missions, you get a taser, and it is kind of cool to tase people. You can do the grab and then tase them. So there's some freaking cool stuff, man. Nick, you got anything before we go into story that you want to throw out?
Not really. I feel like Michael kind of nailed it there. The combat in this game is really satisfying because they do the thing where everything you do looks like you meant to do it, with intent, but also all the enemies will swarm you at one time if you're not kind of kicking around and stuff. So it makes it more satisfying to do those improvisational, I'm beating the crap out of this dude, I'm going to turn around and parry this one guy, knock him down, I'm going to vault over this thing and then throw this guy off a rail. It's really good, man. It feels good.
Crowd control is done by you managing your enemies, not by gadgets.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So it's that whole thing of I never focus on one guy in this game and fight that one guy till he's down, fight the next guy till he's down. I'm always jumping around, damaging guys a little bit at the time. So it's punch this guy, knock this guy down, kick behind me, keep that guy away from me, counter this guy. So you're never beating up one guy, finishing him, beating up the next guy, finishing him. It's always just slight damage to everybody. And then as you get towards the end of the fight, the cool thing is guys start dropping. Because you've damaged almost all of them to that point that when the fight's over, once you take down the first guy, it's the fight's really over because everyone else is already low enough that I'm finishing them off left and right. Mm-hmm. Just a freaking and
then the slow motion whenever you hit the last guy is always
it's
always really good.
It's just satisfying to feel or if you finish it with a throw, when you throw them into a wall or something, it's just super cool. Talking about story, we talked about, this is pretty much all set up. But it covers some tropes, and if you've seen a lot of the Jackie Chan Hong Kong cop movies that he did a whole mess of them. A lot of these are kind of the similar tropes of what he used to do in those movies, where he's undercover and such. But even the opening of this game does a great job of kind of throwing you into it, because it starts off cold open with a cocaine deal going down, in which you realize that oh crap, the cops are here, and they don't tell you Wei is a cop. It just, you take off from the cops because that's what you have to do as an undercover cop. And it just does that great first impression of the running through the cops and the cop cars breaking through and cops coming around corners and you doing quick turns and jumping out windows. And I was just like, I wrote like just a ton of notes about how cool of an opening that is and how it just throws you into this world perfectly. Mm-hmm. And then it does the whole, of course, you get captured and it's like the reveal in the interrogation room that Wei's a cop. But it's like, I've never been to Hong Kong. I would like to go, but I have seen, just due to events on the news and such, a lot of photos and videos of inside Hong Kong. The city, I could believe that they took a ton of reference for this design because the city just fits what I picture Hong Kong to look like. And I think, Michael, you talked about that they did a lot of photos, footage, a lot of research,
thousands upon thousands of photos of the city and just landscape and stuff.
And they nail it because, to me, like I said, I've not been there, so if you've been there, you might say, hey, it doesn't vibe correctly. But to me, like, I see that city right from the get-go. Hong Kong is perfect. They did a great job of just making the vibe fit.
Also, the bit that really fits the vibe is in some of the first missions. You don't really drive a car for like the first like third of this section because a lot of the missions are centered around like the market area where you're walking through and you're literally getting stat buffs by like stopping by the pork bun stand. I love the pork bun guy. Yeah. He's my absolute favorite. So I like that you can just like, that's how you get stat boosts. You go to these vendors and like grab like energy drinks and stuff.
Yeah, like energy drinks would do higher damage to you to be in drinking an energy drink. Or like I like Nick talked about the vendors, like how the vendors are all selling like fake versions of the clothing. Mm-hmm. So like at the level we're at now, we can't buy. I guess because we can't afford.
We don't have the reputation.
Yeah, we can't buy legit clothing. Like we have knockoff Reeboks and stuff.
There's I think it's in one of the lock boxes, but there is the literal outfit from Game of Death, and you need maximum face to wear it. I'm like, how dare you?
Well, this game wears its inspiration.
He literally has the outfit too on his like hanging up in like his closet too.
Yeah.
So I was like,
like I said, that whole opening sequence, once you get out and you actually start the plan, and the plan is basically Wei has come back to Hong Kong to, he's working as a part of the police department there. He was living in America for a long time. He's from Hong Kong, and he's got associations with all these guys who have basically become members of the Triad. Mm-hmm. So he's associated with them. They know him, but he's been gone for long enough that they don't know that he's become a cop, and so he can kind of easily infiltrate the Triad and bring down what we are seeing is what looks to be a kind of a start to a potential gang war, basically.
It's not just a gang war, it's like a civil war.
Yes, because it's a civil war within the Triads.
Because the Sun On Yi, which is where the Triad group that Wei's with, it's two lower level like Red Poles, Winston and Dog Eyes. They're a part of the same group, but they're going at each other. Like, this can't be good for business because you're literally snatching Dog Eyes' business right from under them. So
Dog Eyes is doing the same thing to you though. Like,
yeah,
Winston
exactly.
and him are having like a territory dispute. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and what I like about it also is Wei knows both of these guys from back in the day. Like, Dog Eyes dated Wei's sister, who has died of a drug overdose. And so he's like, these guys are like people he grew up with. So you get that whole thing of like he's returning, but it kind of justifies why they are more likely to eventually bring him in as quick as they do. Because it's not like he's off the street, they never met him. They know the guy, they've known him for a while. He's just been gone for a while.
And the timing with that is, so the cops in Hong Kong, they send Wei in as an undercover, basically immedially after they find an undercover cop before, and then bury him alive. They talk about all this during the bus mission. So it's like, let's just fill that spot immediately. I'm like, isn't that does come up, like how he shows up immediately after this other undercover cop, and doing some similar things. Like he can't really kill people. He's more soft spoken and everything. Like Conrad, I think is the dude's name, who's like, "You seem fishy. You came up literally after we buried this other guy alive."
Is Conrad the guy who is like kind of like one of the lieutenants under Winston?
I think that's right.
Because he's like, yeah, he spots you from the get-go. He's like, nah, man, something's up with this guy. And like, my favorite thing is you're supposed to be like, this guy's a jerk. No, he just seems like a competent criminal. He's like, this Way guy shows up just now. We haven't seen him in a long time, and his first thing he wants to do is get in with Winston. Like, I'm not buying it. But and of course, you have the little guy. What's the guy's name that gets you? Who does the introduction? I think who introduces you to Winston. What's
Jackie.
Jackie,
your friend your like really close friend from back in the day.
Yeah, he's like the guy who's vouching for you to Winston.
Like you go into the triads basically together, because I think he's not a member of it yet, but he knows them.
He's like an underling. From my understanding,
yeah.
he's down at the bottom, but
he's the dude that picks up the dead bodies.
Yeah, he's not got any real clout.
He's the pledge. He hasn't been hazed and initiated yet.
Yeah. A whole lot of these early missions are just Way trying to, kind of get in with Winston and them while balancing not getting caught as an undercover agent. The one highlight I do want to talk about is there's a mission in which you take over a bus line. Which at first I was like, oh, come on. But there's a moment in which you are speeding down the road against another guy who's running the bus route, and you're talking over the radios at each other, being like, hey man, pull over. And your way of stopping him is just like riding his tail and hitting your horn. And my favorite thing is that's how you take it over like a bus route, and then you have to run the route because you take over a bus with passengers on it.
Oh, there's been a problem with your bus. We have to make an exchange. That same bus has been tailing and it's honking the horn aggressively.
But then you gotta run away from the cops on the bus as the people in the bus are like, this is terrible. What's going on? And like there's a meter of like bus patron satisfaction that you have to keep under. If not, I guess that you fail the mission. But I was like, this is a great level of crime. I want more of these kind of crimes where it's like taking over bus routes and stuff like that, where it's low level stuff, right? It's stuff that the new guy would have to do. But
it's not really go to this place, assassinate this guy, and drive back and turn in your mission that we've seen in a lot of open world games. It seems to have fun with both the setting and like just the nature of the story. They can really do some fun stuff with it.
Well, also the environment. Like, this is set in Hong Kong. Public transportation's there. We're going to use public transit. Like, it feels like it's like, hey, we're not going to just do, like assassination missions. Mm-hmm. All the crimes that the triads are doing are not all just killing people. We're doing bus shakedowns. I just thought, and I was really, really enjoyed that mission in particular. This is around the point in which the game kind of breaks and makes you do the first cop mission, which kind of explains to you how that process works. Because you also get pinched again. You get arrested again, and that introduces you to who's kind of your like quest giver for the cop missions. What's that lady's name, Michael? You're better with the names than I am.
Did I write it down? I forget.
Yeah, I didn't write it down either.
I don't think I did.
Nick, you remember the lady? The lady cop.
I do not.
I hate to be like she's the lady cop, but she is. Like she's going to be like your handler for the cop missions.
Yeah, she's your main contact.
She's the only one who Way isn't like a total dick to. Because he's going through some hard stuff, but like every other cop that goes, especially his like Hong Kong psych evaluator, he just goes off on in that alleyway.
Well, like I kind of took it as a vibe that Way didn't know that I don't think Way knew that an undercover guy had just got killed, because I'm pretty sure it's revealed to him by Jackie. So like it also Way's under a lot of stress, man. He's like, especially as we get to a point in which they almost discover him, because this cop mission that you do, just to kind of explain how cop missions work, like they very quickly link you to the fact that you were dealing with Popstar, and then Popstar got arrested like a few days later. And they very much do the logical thing of being like, well, clearly you must do something with it. And Wei has to talk him way out of it, and he throws another guy under the bus.
Who immediately just gets executed.
Oh, yeah, because that's Ming. That's the guy you chase in like the third mission, who is working for Dog Eyes and then is working for you. So, like, Wei has to like play that situation very close to make sure he doesn't get killed, and then Ming just gets shot in the head
by Winston with a gold-plated Desiree, or like he'd been playing Call of Duty 4.
he proceeds to get that, so
he did.
Very proud of it.
That's always a tough thing to hit that prestige button. But yeah, man, I mean, like he's under some stress. I justify Wei's jerkiness. And I kind of like the game has like a dueling meter of like how you are ranking in the triads and how you're ranking as a cop. So, you know, depending on how you play certain things, you get better stats depending on which one. I don't know if that affects like the ending of the game or anything, but you know, there was like repercussions. So you do more crime stuff, you go higher in the triads. You do more stuff for the cops, you go higher for the cops.
It's really hard to keep your cop level high, especially on missions where you have to use it to chase because you're going really fast. So that cop level drops to like 1 for me. Because it's during like chase stuff.
Well, yeah, any of the card like sequences where you're like chasing guys down, like you're like stopping vans and stuff, dude. I was knocking cars into pedestrians. I was knocking down poles. Like I was trying my best to not kill people or anything because I was trying to play it like Wei would, you know. But yeah, it's hard, man. Sometimes you go up on the sidewalk and bad things happen. But the whole kind of like sequence here, other than you do some stuff like you do some bugging. There's a sequence in which you bug Winston's kind of like back of the restaurant section that in some video games would just be like go in there and press a button, but they do a great job of making that sequence really cool because like you sneak in through a skylight and you're undoing the vents to put the bugs in, and you're organizing the bugs, and it's super intense because you got people talking about coming back there and getting food from the back of the restaurant that you're in. Like they do a great job of making like little events like that. And a lot of video games would just be like go behind the restaurant and hit Y and you'll place the bug.
The mini games are a lot of fun. Like even the one where you're guessing the passwords to like hack the security cameras are interesting with like the number puzzles and stuff.
Yeah, like it tells you how like you got the right number but you're in the wrong spot, or you don't have any of the right. So you're trying to like you're trying to do like the deductive reasoning to figure out okay what the sequence is and then get them in the right order. Yeah, they do a really good job with all those kind of little mini game stuff. Mm-hmm. That usually I hate that kind of stuff in these kind of games, but all
much
of
better
so far,
than the ones in the first Mass Effect.
Oh yeah, that stuff was a piece of shit.
They're removing those for they're redoing those for the remake and changing the frequency of them. But let's get back on topic.
Now we're back to a Mass Effect podcast. If you're a first-time listener and you're like, they spent 5 minutes talking about freaking email addresses. They did a 10-minute Persona 5 talk. The two of them didn't even play Persona 5.
Is Persona 5 Royal?
Yeah, different games.
You know what? Let's get back to sleeping. So, like, there's not a ton to really talk about the way kind of stuff going on with that. But I do want to talk about some of the stuff that is interesting around it. So we do meet Emma Stone's character, and we also meet who's it, Lucy Liu's character? Did we meet her yet?
I don't think so.
No, we haven't met her
yet. No.
I know who she was because I looked up the actress to make sure that it was Emma Stone's character was Emma Stone's character. Mm-hmm. But like it seems like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, because you've played through these games, it seems like that's completely optional content.
Yep. Basically, maybe Emma Stone shows up for another main mission. I think she does do one main mission, but otherwise, you like the girls you meet, you can call them and have dates with.
But because we're playing this for the show, and sometimes that means we play on a deadline. Is that content worth us doing? Because I did the first one. Obviously, you have to do the first one with Amanda, who is traveling abroad, and she and Wei do like a little travel around. It was actually kind of a fun little mission. You travel around Hong Kong and talk about different like sites and stuff like that, and it was kind of fun.
That's when you visit the kung fu store where you get the statues.
Yeah, the
statue quest, which I'm glad they're not just dispersed out through the open world. Like, you get the majority of them through missions and side missions. You, like, walk by them. Like, they're clearly in your path.
Yeah, it's not like you have to go dig on rooftops and go look for them. Also, if you do turn those in, not only do you get the upgrade bonuses, but you also, there's some story stuff between the headmaster of the dojo, I guess.
Yeah, Wei trained there when he was a kid.
Yeah, Wei trained there with him. And my favorite thing is he's like, obviously, he becomes aware that Wei is with the Triads, and he voices a lot of his like disapproval of the fact that that's where Wei has ended up. And there's some really good stuff where Wei's like, you asked me not to lie to you, so don't ask me questions that are going to make me lie to you. Where you can tell like Wei's trying in a way, roundabout way, to say like, I haven't fallen so far off the path you put me on as you think I did. But it's more of that conscience kind of stuff where Wei's trying not to lose himself in it's the classic undercover story of like getting too deep and
you're off the case.
Yeah, or what's the line? You're too close to the criminals. If you ever watch like documentaries on guys who go undercover in like the mob and stuff, where they're like they actually talk about when they bust these guys, they feel bad. Like, because they've known these people, and
you have to pretend to be their friends for so long to the point where it's like you actually develop that. It's
that, yeah, and that's kind of the vibe I'm thinking this story is going to take. But I do really like. I didn't do any of the other Amanda stuff because the other lady you meet that you can go on dates with allows you to do karaoke.
The karaoke minigame is actually pretty fun. It's not quite to the level of Yakuza's karaoke one, but this is fine because Yakuza's does full on music videos where like it starts with Kiryu just singing like the hard rock song, and he gets to the lyric where he goes justice, and all of a sudden you and your friend are playing guitars to like an audience of like 500 people. But this one's pretty good too.
I like the fact that Wei also, he dances kind of like Commander Shepard does. You go to the dance floor, you can just make them dance.
That's 2 Mass Effect references.
That's 2. There'll be another one eventually. I let him dance as I went to go fix myself dinner one night, and I just let him stand there dancing for like 2 or 3 minutes. Also, the guy who plays Wei can sing pretty well.
Yeah.
He's got a pretty decent singing voice, actually. He sings the Clash's I Fought the Law, which is a little bit on the nose. But he sung that pretty well. And he also does a pretty mean air guitar. So I like the karaoke minigame, I ain't gonna lie.
Wei is a great character. Like, I really like Wei. In like, even like the way he handles, like when he's around, he's very charismatic. When he's around people, he has that charisma about him to where like he can win people over. Like, he was like, oh, I'm gonna get in the VIP room. How can I need to get in the VIP room so I can talk to this person. How do I do that? I'm gonna charm the waitress. How do I charm the waitress? I sing karaoke and have a good time. And be like, let's go upstairs. And she's like, all right, cool.
He doesn't have like the protagonist problem of being like, he has a dark backstory, right? He's from a rough neighborhood in Hong Kong. He goes to America where his sister dies of a drug overdose.
He has no life family. That's what the cop codec tells you. It goes into his psychological background and everything.
But he doesn't get the edgelord thing going, where he's not just brooding all the time. Like, he's still capable of like charming a lady here and there and singing some karaoke, and like he's got some dimension to him where they don't fall into the whole thing of like, and Wei's super, depressed and angry all the time, and he's just here for justice. What's the line too far? Because I think that if you did that all the time, when Wei actually inevitably has to cross the line, it doesn't mean as much unless if Wei is shown as like a guy who's a pretty good guy and he's got some positive attributes. So when he inevitably has to cross the line, it means more. It means something when he crosses that line. He becomes, he's inevitably in this story going to have to go too far eventually.
Are you implying there's going to be conflict in this video game involving cops and triads?
I'm saying that maybe just a spoiler warning here, but like it means something more because he's not a freaking edgelord. Like that's how they could have gone with that character with that kind of backstory, but they went a little bit more charismatic. He's a fun character, man. He seems like a cool guy. So far, I generally kind of like all the characters in this game for what they are. Like, there's not a ton of characters that you really like, but they all play the type well. Jackie plays the little, like the low level, gangster that's trying to work his way up, and no one really likes or respects very well. They all play those roles pretty well.
The straight edge cop who's looking after, well, not the straight edge cop because he does something at the end of this chapter that you're like, the section where you're like, that's messed up, dude.
Well, yeah, when you get to the corruption of the police chief guy, basically, who's basically frames the guy. They know he committed a crime, but they just frame him for another one.
Oh, you got his gun. Cool. Pop in his dead body going, well, I'm going to leave the gun here, and now they'll find it.
Yeah, it's like, haha, congratulations, guess what we found.
Like, oh, no.
Is that dude dead or alive?
He was dead.
He was already dead.
That takes a little bit of the edge off of it, because I thought that dude was alive.
No.
But still.
Because that was a shootout that had happened, but they didn't have any leads there. So when you find the dude's gun, he's like, oh, meet me with it. He's like, oh, now we can frame at least one of the dudes who we believe was here. Who we know was here, but still they didn't have evidence on it, so they planted the evidence so they could capture the guy.
And I like that also, like, it clearly doesn't sit well with Wei, but he also is in this weird situation where you can tell that he's not able to really, he's not like all of a sudden like, we can't do that, that's too far. It's just like, what the hell, man? What the hell are you doing? It's just, it takes him more off guard than it does anything. And obviously it sets up a potential time where maybe that guy's corrupt after all. We don't know yet. Well, Michael knows, but we don't yet. Nick, where did you get to in this game the first time you jumped off?
I honestly have no idea, man. Because, like, I didn't see a large majority of this. Like, I might have saw the dude get shot where you, like, roll or, like, pass the buck on that dude and he just gets killed. But it's either been so long or I haven't played enough of it to know where I got.
Yeah. I was just wondering because I remember when you were talking about how you jumped off of it, and I was like, I wonder what part made you jump off, because so far it's pretty brisk moving game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how long it took y'all to complete this first section, but it didn't take me very long at all.
About 4 hours for missions, and then I did some side stuff after the fact.
Yeah, it's a pretty you can mainline it, but I do kind of say I would promote that you at least do the cop missions, because some of those are pretty. Not when I said the cop missions, Nick corrected me last time, and because I'm meaning like the cases, not the traffic stuff and stuff like that.
I do want to say there's some points where this game some of the ones are mandatory because some of the people you take down, like the pop star thing, are tied to the story in some ways.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. You gotta, like to say, I was kind of surprised the pop star thing happened because I thought that the game was going to keep those two very separate. So when you come back in and that guy's there, and like right when I saw that guy, I was like, oh crap, that's that guy for the pop star mission. And the fact that he's like. I do give them credit. They don't make Winston and them be complete idiots. Like, it very much is like, this guy shows up, he starts dealing with Popstar, and like 3 days later, Popstar gets arrested. Like, clearly this guy did it. And Wei does a good job of figuring out how to get himself out of it. He doesn't just like deny it a bunch. He like makes a logical point why it's not him. Like, he's like, no, Ming was literally just betraying us to the Dog Eyes. Ming was literally just being a scumbag. Why is it that... And then Ming just so happens to show up and want to pin it all on me when like less than a week ago he was walking for the the enemy. Like he does a good job of making a good case, and it makes sense that Winston responds the way he does because clearly Winston's a hothead. There's like Winston, as soon as he gets somebody else in his sights, just instantly bam. But also it does a good job of like, hey, they like the trust level they have for Wei is still. No one's gonna take Wei to their secret hideout anytime soon. Wei's still got to work his way in a little bit deeper because of stuff like that. They blew it. Now it would be really really cool is if you blow the cop missions if that affects the main story. I doubt it does, but I was just thinking about that. I was like, I wonder if these tie in more, as we go. But yeah, I think the cop missions are a must in this game just because I think there is some cool stuff. And like I said, the one with Pop Star where you have to act like you're drunk to get onto the boats, and it's got some more kind of cooler stuff than just like a normal open world game where you might run around and just like beat up this guy in an alleyway and then run and beat this guy up in the alleyway and then turn it in. It actually does a little bit more in-depth stuff. Mm-hmm. I also don't like that this open world map is not like an Assassin's Creed map, that when you open it there's just like 1,000,001 things marked on the map. It keeps it a little bit lower, a little bit more manageable.
There's no towers to climb.
Yeah, there's no towers to climb like in Far Cry or Assassin's Creed. But like that's one of my least favorite things about like the modern day open world design is when you open up the map for the first time and there's like just information overload of like here's 46 races and 56 beat up these guys missions, and it's not like missions that are actually like unique and interesting. It's just like busy walk stuff. This game seems to keep that stuff kind of to the minimum so far.
Feathers.
Yeah, like or like collect 200 of these things, and it's just like, man, come on, man. I would much rather play a video game that has like 40 side missions that are all interesting and a little bit unique than play one that has 356 check off boxes missions. Mm-hmm. That's just not what I'm here for. Give me a little bit of something. Come on, man. It's 2021. Let's have our side missions mean something. That's something that really impressed me about this video game because it is, 7 years old? 8 years old?
It's 2012.
Yeah.
9 years. Yeah. Oh, dang. Yeah.
Or no, 20.
That really blows your mind when you think about it.
Yeah, it does. But like this game holds up really well for an open world game compared to some of the open world games that came out, say, this year. I mean, and I'm not even just talking about Cyberpunk. I'm talking about like that, like the Ubisoft kind of design on their open world games, where it's a lot of like busy walk side missions and stuff like that. This is pretty well crafted for the time, for sure. And like I said, the characters are pretty cool. Generally, kind of vibe check. How anything else anybody wants to bring to the table?
I just can't wait to go back and play the next 10 missions. Like, I'm hooked again. The fact that I can still not be bored with this game after playing the main story, this is my fourth time, speaks to the quality and the fun of this game. Like, the combat doesn't get old. It's always fun. Like, there is a DLC that is built around that combat in a way that is very disconnected, so I can talk about it. It's a ripoff of Into the Dragon, and it knows it's a ripoff of Into the Dragon. And, like, it's all the combat, and that's all fun. So I really...
There also looks to be like a horror DLC?
There's a zombie DLC, because this was around the time there was zombie DLCs for games. I think this was around the time of Undead Nightmare as well.
Which I will say this, Undead Nightmare, pretty good DLC.
Really good DLC.
It's not a bad DLC, so... I could play like a zombie karate game, like like jump kicking zombies' heads off and stuff. I can play that. Did you play any of those DLC? I know you played the one that's Into the Dragon. Did you play the other one?
I think I played a bit of Nightmare in North Point.
Okay.
But...
I just might fiddle around with those. We're not going to play that for the show because obviously we got other games we want to play. But I might fiddle around with that stuff and we can talk about it maybe on the last episode, see if I mess around with it a little bit. And maybe, Michael, you can talk about some of your experiences there. Mm-hmm. I don't know how in-depth that stuff is. Nick, you got anything else you want to bring to the table about Sleeping Dogs?
Not really, man. I'm just, again, I'm excited to play through these next few missions. I don't really even know how, looking back on this game, I kind of thought that the story was unnotable and, like, nothing cool. But the fact that they really do take the story so seriously, even down to like when you do a mission, characters who are NPCs that in a GTA game would be like, beat this guy up if you want to. I don't know. They're like responding to your actions in the game. Like in the first mission where you meet Jackie, he takes you back to the restaurant for the first time. You get jumped by that gang. Like you beat all those guys up while he's getting like one-on-one by the main dude, and he just goes, "What did they do to you in America, man?" Like, like the NPC banter that's like actually shows like, oh, what you do, people notice this stuff. If a game developer takes that much interest in making sure that those people fit in this world, you could tell that they really they're doing their best work to polish it off. So I'm excited to, check something out that I missed first go around.
The also just taking like off to your point you just made, because that's a very good point. The side character missions, like the side missions, will sometimes be people that you met in main missions. So it's like, hey, I'm a shop owner that you talked to doing the shakedown mission, and I see that you're working with Winston now, but can you help me? Like, there's a lady who asks you basically commit insurance fraud. You take her car and you jump it into the river so she can get the insurance money. But like, she's a lady who was in the night market when you were down there doing the shakedown, and they'll reference when they met you. So they, it's not like a random person like, hey, you, because that's always the weird thing about open world games, especially ones like Grand Theft Auto, is like, hey, you, stranger on the street, let me stop you and ask you if you can go shoot 4 guys from me. Like here, it's like these people have met you or seen you in missions, and that's how they're aware that you're working with Winston and that who you are. So it just fits why they would come to you. Like it's smart. And then there's like what kind of reminds me of like the Red Dead Redemption or Red Dead missions where like you would come on people who are getting held up at gunpoint or stuff like that. Those are the ones that like there's one where a lady, you get your wallet stolen twice, and 2 of them so far that I've done. One is like when you bend over the hood to help a lady whose car broke down, and the guy runs by and steals your wallet. But then another one's like a lady's like, hey man, does this shirt look too tight? And he's checking her out like, let me check, let me look. And then a guy comes by and grabs your wallet, and she's like, that's what you get, you pervert.
That was very funny.
And like she's obviously in on it, so she's yelling as you're running after the guy, like run, 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 like yelling for the guy to get away. So like there's just, even those, that's just like, that's a style of side mission obviously where you have to chase some guy down and get your wallet back, but they just make a little bit of extra effort to make it feel a little bit different, a little bit cool. Yeah, man, like that stuff goes a long way for me. Like that's the difference from having an open world game like a No More Heroes, where the open world is just a thing you travel to get to the mission, and you kind of question why it's even open world.
Yeah.
And having a place that actually lives and breathes.
This game wouldn't work if it wasn't open world.
No, you couldn't do this game without an open world. You could do, like, we're using No More Heroes as the point because we just played that. But you can do No More Heroes as not an open world game. This...
I would argue that would be a better game.
Yeah, it would. It really would. It would. But this it has to be an open world game. Because traveling throughout the environment and getting to experience the city of like I talk about riding the moped because I like the moped because you can get around traffic easier. But like those portions of the city that just is very distinctive. You can tell exactly where you are. You can tell when you're at the docks. You can tell when you're at the the downtown district, or you can tell when you're at the residential areas. Like it just fits. And like, dude, man, like, I keep going back to I love rainy days in video games. Just like a cool vibe for a video game when it's raining is always something that can get me. But like walking down the street when it's pouring down rain and you see people kind of jogging to their destination and stuff, and like having a mission where you're coming out of a cop mission or something, and you're walking down the raining street as you're going back to your apartment. It just, man, it fits. It's a great environment. It's a great world. This game has really made a strong first impression. Yeah, man. So we're gonna obviously be playing to the next section will be to mission 20, and then obviously our last episode will be the finishing of the video game. But man, it's a really good solid start. I'm looking forward to where this is going. But we got a little bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
There was something that I want to kind of run through. Kind of change up the format here. Usually we do all this stuff at the beginning, but we're still figuring this format out. This is something you could say, send an email to us at stateofthesave@gmail.com and tell us if you like this format better. Nick, I know you said you watched it. Michael watched it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I watched some of the highlights of it. Let's talk about this Nintendo Direct. I want to do some of this kind of talk on the show because we're not having big press conferences like we would usually have.
I miss E3 so much.
Yeah, I do too. But I want to talk about some of these kind of like press conference stuff just because it's big news moments. Hit me up with some of the highlights of this big Nintendo Direct. This was kind of like an oversized Direct, correct?
This was the longest one they've done since September of 2019. I think that was another, because they didn't do an E3 one last year. They did a couple of minis. They did an indie showcase, and then they did a bunch of third-party partner showcases where they showed like WWE Battlegrounds or something. And that
even
Bakugan game or something.
Even I could not justify. Like, I looked at WWE Battlegrounds and I said, "This looks like a piece of shit. Maybe I should get it anyway."
I was hoping it'd be like WWE Legends.
I was hoping to. I thought it how you blow it. Just make a big arcadey wrestling game. Like, it should be the easiest thing in the world. But man.
Can we get a supercut of Eric saying, "How did they blow it?" and then 30 seconds before where he said, "I didn't want to buy it, but I did."
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. I bought WWE 2K20, and I bought it when it was on sale for like $10. And I was talking to somebody at work who, like, we both agreed to buy it at the same time, knowing it was horrible.
Oh, a blood pact.
Yeah, it was a blood pact. we started basically a cult, which is kind of what wrestling is now. And like he did the smart thing. He played it for an afternoon and is like, "This piece of shit." He never played it again. And then I proceeded to play the video game for like 3 weeks straight because I was like, I want it. Like, how can you screw up such an easy concept? But we're not here to talk about wrestling games. Hit me up with the highlights of the Direct.
I think the highlights are going to be different for everyone because this is a weird.
Well, hit me up with
This is a weird Direct.
what your highlights were.
Mario Golf.
Okay. Okay.
It,
I'm regretting this segment already.
They brought back the story mode from the Game Boy Color games, where you have a character and you level up that character by playing golf against Mario people.
Did you play the Mario Golf games when they were back on the Game Boy? And
I played the Nintendo 64, and I still own the GameCube Mario Golf Toadstool Tour. And that one's still right next to my GameCube.
I feel like that game, like, I never bought into that game because to me it was like, you're just trying to sell me golf by sticking Mario on it.
And it works for me.
It does not work for me,
There
man.
is a game mode where you and 3 other people play golf at the same time and try to beat the course the fastest. So you're literally running and using power-ups. You can, like, throw fire flowers at people to make sure they're not hitting their golf ball. Like, it's...
I don't know, man.
I'm very excited for Mario Golf.
Were you a Super Mario Strikers guy, Michael?
Yes! Mario Strikers rules!
That's everything you need to know.
I feel like...
Mario Strikers.
I feel like there's like 2 kinds of Nintendo fans. I mean, we're all sitting here. We all have enjoyed some Nintendo games, right? There's the kind of Nintendo fan who is willing to try anything that they put out because I do give them credit, and I'm in the minority here. Games like Mario Golf and Mario Tennis and all that stuff those are games that people really love. But then, like, there's the guy who's like, if it's not, like, Mario jumping on stuff and, like, a platformer, I'm not getting it. And that's me. Like, I want my Mario games to be, like, a Mario-ass Mario game. And so even like Mario Kart, like I've always tried to get into Mario Kart, and it's never been something that's appealed to me.
Mario Kart I can get behind. They just need to make Mario Kart an esport, and they need to streamline it, take the rubber banding out. They need to take the crappy items that favor terrible players out, and then we can get into some competitive Mario Kart. Like, that's really all I want from life.
I don't want Mario Kart. I want to bring back F-Zero. I'm that Nintendo fan who's been holding out for F-Zero since GX on the GameCube because it's the best racing game ever made. And
can we all pause for a second and just think about what a Mario Kart esport event would look like?
I would quit my job today if that was a thing, dude.
They just show up wearing like the match. Oh man, I think about this. Okay, you know how like for like Overwatch and Rainbow Six, you have like the little jerseys they wear.
Yeah.
They can't even do the jerseys right because they make them look like, come on. But instead, everybody has to wear Mario hats with their logo on it.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
everyone wears like if you're like the San Jose Koopas, you gotta wear a hat that's got SJ with a little Koopa beside it. Like that's the uniform, is the Mario hat. I don't care about the shirts.
But that is amazing.
I'd be all
man.
for this.
So let's break this down, because now I can't stop thinking about it. Everybody name what one good Nintendo Mario Kart esport team would be called. The Kansas City Koopas is
Kansas
mine.
City Koopas is pretty
Kansas
great.
City Koopas is a high quality name. I would wear a Kansas City Koopas
Got
hat.
it.
The Houston
Boston-
Hammer Bros.
The Boston Bob-Ombs.
Okay,
There you
Boston Bomb Bombs
We nailed it.
and the Houston Hammer Bros.
There you
Houston
go.
Hammer Bros is a good one. Please, I am begging. There's got to be we have a nice listener base.
Minnesota Mauser.
Oh man. Well, Minnesota Mario would be like the obvious one.
no.
I'm saying it's too obvious. It's too obvious.
Toronto
But-
Toadstools. This does itself. This is $1 million idea.
Toronto Toadstools.
Buffalo Blooper.
Oh my lord! Nintendo, call us.
We're-
We
we're-
will run
Fuji.
this.
We're cutting the
kidding me?
segment out. It's too good.
Oh my lord, guys! Whoever out there who has any artistic ability at all, please just design us a couple of logos for what a Mario Kart esports team's logo would be. And
I would rock a Boston Bob-Omb shirt.
Oh man, I will make a T-shirt. If you make a good enough logo, we will make a T-shirt for it. I cannot for the life of me get this out of my head now.
And you will get a cut of those t-shirt shells. We'll work out the details.
Yeah, we'll work out the details. We're honest businessmen here, all right? We're professionals, okay? With our esports Nintendo teams. Okay, hit me up with another big thing.
I talked my highlight. What's one of your highlights, Nick? I got another one.
So I've actually got a list. I don't know how long you want this segment to run, but I've got a list from IGN.com that pretty much hits everything they talked about.
Run it down.
Let's go beat
for
by
me.
beat.
Yeah, run it down. We got some time. Listen,
All right.
listen. There's two kinds of fans to the State of the Save podcast. We love both of you. We're big fans of both of y'all. But there's the fan who's here for the game, and then there's the fan who's here for all the shenanigans. Both of them are valid. We're now in the shenanigans portion of the show. Okay.
If you'd like to be a Shenanigans fan, welcome.
Yeah. Listen.
It's always fun here.
Yeah, it's always fun. Hit me up with that list. Let me see what's going on with that list.
All right. So, surprise, there's more characters joining Smash.
Oh yeah, it's the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 people.
Yep.
Okay,
So
let's keep on skipping down past all
next.
that.
that.
I was a
Next
Smash
item
fan,
of
I'm like-
business.
People are okay with anime swordsmen if it's ladies. That's
Yeah, that's yeah.
yeah.
The internet
Every-
says if you're a lady, you can have a sword.
Every fighting game needs more sword characters, is how I feel.
Let me introduce you to the Soul Calibur.
That was a good game.
Yeah, I like Soul Calibur.
Yeah.
Hit me up.
They got on stage and said, "Hey, you really want to hear some news about Breath of the Wild 2, don't ya?"
Yeah.
Wait a second. What did they say?
He said, if you, because it was
No,
the
Michael.
head of-
I want to
oh,
hear.
oh.
Run that by me one more time, Nick. They said, what did they say that you wanted to hear?
They want you to hear. You want to hear news about Breath of the Wild 2.
And what did we get?
Legend of Zelda, Skyward Sword.
HD.
And so for the next 2 hours, I will explain to you why this is the worst possible choice of a remake or remaster they could have done.
Let's pause for a second. Michael's confused because I was setting Nick up there because I knew that if anybody has opinions on Legend of Zelda game, it would be my friend Nick.
I would rather have Minish Cap than Skyward Sword.
Why is Skyward Sword a bad Legend of Zelda game?
Okay, so if you got this book on your coffee table, Hyrule Historia, this might actually be the most important Legend of Zelda game, which they actually went on to tell you it was one of the most important Legend of Zelda games in the show, because without this game, they say that they wouldn't have Breath of the Wild, so they're just like, y'all like this game? It wouldn't be possible without this. That is a word-for-word thing that they said.
Hey, you like stamina bars? This game invented the stamina bar. You like item upgrades? This game has item upgrades too.
It's literally like, hey kids, do you like Star Wars? How do you feel about 1940s sci-fi movies? Let's watch those instead of Star Wars. Like, to me, it's a softball, right? If you're going to do a remake, you can think of like 3 other Zeldas.
They already did.
Like 7 other Zeldas.
They already did Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, and those are not on the Switch.
Okay, what about Majora's Mask?
That's on the
That would
3DS.
have been perfect.
But I'm saying like a good
Yeah.
Switch version of that.
Just HDify that. Take the assets, put it on the N64 game. Boom, we got ourselves a remake of Majora's Mask.
Do freaking Ocarina of Time. Like those, like if you're going to try to go for a big crowd pleasing moment, like I never even touched Skyward Sword.
I think it's because Skyward Sword is the only, you can correct me Nick, is the only 3D Zelda that hasn't been updated and re-released.
I don't know that to be 100% certain, but I would believe you if it said that. It was released on the Wii, and the reason it gets so much flack is because it was a Wii game, so it had native Wii controls. Like you had to swing the remote, which was like terrible. You had to have a nunchuck, if I'm not mistaken. Most people don't want to play games that way.
You had to have the Wii Motion Plus, the extension to it that had the gyro.
A better Wii remote that you had to shell out another.
It came with it, but if you bought used, you had to buy a Wii Motion Plus.
Yeah, I bought it used, so
gotcha.
And along with that announcement, they are making some pretty admittedly sick-looking Joy-Cons that are Legend of Zelda themes, which would be perfect if you didn't have to worry about them wearing out and getting analog drift.
I had to send mine to New York to get fixed at one point.
Pretty bad.
So here's my question, though. Like, can you now play this game without the crappy motion controls?
You can. So that's the big, I would say, like, actual nugget of news there is that they are adding just, if you want to play this game, let's play this game.
Let's do it.
Okay, but here's my question to you as the Zelda guy. Like, did you finish the game with the motion controls and stuff?
I did not.
Okay, but like, is that game something that is appealing enough to you to go back and play without the motion? Was the motion controls the problem, or was the game just not interesting enough to keep your attention?
Yeah, I mean, so, you know, we're going to play it straight here. Every Legend of Zelda game has one portion of the game that's like, hey, I could really do without that. And the cool thing is, in the last time that they remastered one of these is Wind Waker, they pretty much polished that last chunk off, which is like probably like, I would say the last 3/4 of the game was like, you're going to search the ocean for 27 pieces of the Triforce and then build it together. If they did that with some of the worst parts of this game, I would definitely play it.
I kind of want to give them the benefit of the doubt and say, maybe is this a situation where they can kind of take this game that was kind of held back by their current push for motion controls and make this something that going back to it isn't as annoying as going. Like, I can see what you were saying, Michael, that this is like the one that's not available to modern consoles or is easier to play. But at the same time, when they announced Skyward Sword, the first thought I went to my head was Nick's gonna be mad. But then
in real time, a Discord message popped up and said, "Why Skyward Sword?"
I was at work at the time, and I actually think I was standing there taking a piss. I hear ba-bing, and I looked down at my phone, and it's just, "Why Skyward Sword?" I was like, "Oh, something happened." But I just, for me, I was just like, "Why this particular one?" I feel like they got such a potential right now. Zelda is kind of riding high after the last one. Like, man, it would be a good time to do a big fancy remake of like
It's important to note that this might not be it, because this is the 35th anniversary of Zelda. They're going to wrap up the Mario stuff at the end of March, so it's possible that we're going to see some Zelda stuff through the end of this year.
I feel like you have to, like, if you're going to do something, man, do a big remake of like Majora's Mask or something.
Like make a collection of, like, if they took like a lot of the like old school Zelda games and did the Link's Awakening thing to it, that could be cool. There's potential. You could do a lot with Zelda.
Yeah.
You could just add the like Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Color games to like the Switch Online stuff, like the Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons stuff, like, because I played almost every main like console Zelda games. There's two I haven't played. One is Skyward Sword, and the other is tragically A Link to the Past.
Oh,
I've never played A Link to the Past.
Even I've played Link to the Past. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's a pretty good game.
I didn't have it on the Super Nintendo. My first Zelda was Ocarina of Time.
Okay, I mean, it's still pretty good entry point. Hit me up, Nick. Keep going down the line. Tell me what we got.
We got Splatoon 3, which I haven't played any Splatoon games. They
looks
just
like
really
Mad
don't
Max.
appeal to me.
I
like. Michael, do you have anything else to add to that one?
Not really.
We did Mario Golf, which is the next article. We've got a sequel, I guess, to, what was that game called? Octopath Traveler?
Yes! So
Did you play that, Michael?
I didn't play Octopath Traveler because I played the demo for it. I was waiting for the price to kind of, I'm waiting for the price to kind of go down on that, but I'm very interested in Project Triangle Strategy because one of my favorite, we all have a list of favorite games that we never completed. Mine is Final Fantasy Tactics, and this is a like HD-ified, beautiful diorama version of Final Fantasy Tactics, except with political intrigue, and they describe it as you can influence your government by like having people vote a certain way, and that changes like the outcome of the story and how your government is aligned. So you're literally going around like these looks like cabinet meeting things, and you're like, hey, you should totally vote this way. I'll definitely throw some army your way if you help us out in this next vote. And you're literally voting, like, everybody goes up and like it looks like you put little pebbles on like a justice scale thing, and that determines like the outcome. So you're trying to get people to vote your way to change the outcome of the story.
So
like,
do
do
we
help this people?
Thrill.
Yeah, it's like a political intrigue meets like a tactics RPG. So there's a little bit of Fire Emblem, but it looks like a lot of Final Fantasy Tactics. So I am very excited for Project Triangle Strategy. There is a demo for it that I need to check out, but that game's not coming out
too.
It's not coming out till 2022. We should try to play. I don't know how long it is, but we should try to play that before the next show so we can discuss it, because I'm very interested in that game.
Play the demo for it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. I don't see. I'll try to do that.
Depending on how long it is, because there are some demos for some JRPGs. Like the Dragon Quest XI demo on Switch was 10 hours long for a demo.
Like they did that with like one of the Metro games, with like Metro Last Light, and you could play the demo. It was like a 2-hour demo. And like at that point, you just pissed me off because I feel like at that point I've already started the game, you know.
My favorite is Yakuza 6. When that came out, they patched it, but apparently if you disconnect your console from the internet, you could just play the whole game.
That's great.
It is insane.
Some guy's like, "Oh crap!"
Game there.
Some guy's like, "You put a hard stop in that demo, right?" quick, hot patch, hot patch.
But if you were disconnected from the internet when you were playing it, you never got the hot fix they did, so you could just play the entire Yakuza 6.
That's just hilarious. All right, what's next? What we got?
We've got Star Wars Hunters announced for Nintendo Switch.
That trailer made me so mad. It didn't show anything. Like, it was like,
Well,
Star
the reason
Wars
that is,
multiplayer.
It's probably because it's a Zynga joint.
I saw that. I was like, who's doing this? And it was Zynga. And I'm like, oh my god.
So if you don't know who Zynga is, if you ever played a game on MySpace that was like Mafia or something. Farmville, that's them.
Oh, man.
So mileage may vary.
I didn't know they were still going.
Evidently.
Why couldn't we have Moister Farmville? I mean,
oh, Jesus Christ.
Come on, it writes itself.
Yeah. Okay, let's just skip over this.
Yeah, we've got a few kind of in passing things that are not great. You got Fall Guys coming to Nintendo Switch.
Woo.
Got Age of Calamity expansion pass because of course. They're doing a Ninja Gaiden Master Collection, which is...
I'm gonna pause here. I'm actually super excited about that.
Because it's like the Sigma games. They're like the full, like, finalized, upgraded versions of those Ninja Gaiden games.
Exactly, which are not actually as... What do you say?
And Razor's Edge, which...
Yeah.
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 But I'm actually pretty excited for that. I might actually get that because those are not actually that easy to track down, all of them. And they're really damn good. Like, they're really good. I went back and played Ninja Gaiden 2, I believe, or Black. Ninja Gaiden Black, maybe, recently. And a kind of nice HD version of that game would be really, really appreciated. Because if it can clean up some of the muddiness of the port that I played, it might be really, really cool. So I'm actually excited about that. That's what to talk about. But, okay, what we got next?
We've got Miitopia coming to the Switch, which is like a Nintendo 3DS type thing, which is okay. We got an Outer Wilds port, Legend of Mana remaster, Tales from the Borderlands port. This is kind of a bunch of ports. They did
anything kind of
not really.
Anything
Those
of
are kind of
note
kind of
left?
the highlights.
Okay.
Let's see. No More Heroes arriving on Switch August 2021. I think that's the first time they kind of nailed down a date since everything got pushed.
This looks good. Like, I know, like, we've just recently played No More Heroes, but No More Heroes 3 was, like, a lot of fun. It still has the jobs. Like, it still has him going around picking things up and putting in his backpack so he can raise money to fight aliens. But it looks fun.
I kind of think I'm going to fiddle around with No More Heroes too.
At some point, I will too.
Yeah, me too.
It's too close.
I think that maybe I'm not saying I don't think I want to do it for the show necessarily, but I think I do want to just fiddle around and see what that is and see if it improves on No More Heroes. But yeah, I saw that 3 trailer and I was like, hey, this actually looks pretty good, pretty fun. Anything else, Nick, on the highlights?
I'd say the only other like standout thing, and this might just be this is my type of genre here, but we've got a first person card battler coming to the Switch. White from the dudes who made Donut County, or the team that made Donut County.
Really?
Oh, is that the one that has Steve Bloom doing the voiceover for, and he's like battling demons in heaven?
Yeah. So the
he's like an exterminator.
When you look this up on IGN, it says "Become an assassin of demons in heaven." Which just sounds bad. I mean,
that does sound cool.
Become an assassin of demons. That is like a No More Heroes line.
Yeah.
Become an assassin of demons.
It looks like Ghost Runner, but with a deck, but kind of a deck builder.
Yeah, it seems crazy. I'm excited for that one. But that's kind of like the last thing of note that's not already been announced, and just kind of like a rehash of trailers.
There's one thing I want to mention, and that is a game I always wanted to play on the original Xbox, but the price of it is so ridiculous. It's $100 complete in box. Stubbs the Zombie in Rebel Without a Pulse is finally getting its due and getting HD'd from the people from the Aspire team, which is great.
Exactly.
So,
for the masses that have been asking for it.
I've been those people, because I'm like, I'm not paying $100 to play this zombie game I might hate. I'll pay $20. But not $120 for a complete in box copy of Stubbs the Zombie. Like, it's always been one that I've always wanted to check out. But so I'm glad it's finally getting its due. That's also coming to Xbox and PS4 and 5, and maybe there might be an upgraded version for the new consoles, but we'll see.
Only reason I even remember that game at all is because it was like in the inside cover of every video game magazine for like 3 months.
Because it had the Halo beta.
Yeah, it had the Halo beta, so I think
No. It has the Halo engine. That's right. It didn't have the Halo beta.
Okay, no, because Crackdown had the Halo beta.
Yeah, I was about to say, did they just do the Crackdown thing with this?
No, it didn't.
I was
but
wrong.
Crackdown had the Halo beta, which I knew multiple people who bought Crackdown just for that Halo beta, and then took that
thing.
And then took that thing right back to the GameStop to get that thing turned in. I remember, there was multiple people who did that.
Some Japanese imports, Saga Frontier, and Famicom Detective Club. So stuff I will see. I will look up and see if those are my things.
But yeah, it's kind of the highlights.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I think I really like those direct stuff. I always like kind of seeing what comes up. I wish Sony and Microsoft and other companies did more of those kind of things, because I think they're really kind of fun. It's also a good chance to highlight smaller games or collections, and like I think people like us who do a video game podcast about older video games, it's very fun because it's like, let's see what remakes and other stuff is coming out.
If Skyward Sword wasn't $60, I would say we should play that for the show and see your impressions. But it's a $60 remake.
Which one?
Skyward Sword.
We're going to do a Zelda on here eventually, but
What?
I want to make sure it's something that is impactful.
Surely you're not going to play a game from one of the most popular franchises.
Have you seen the list of games we've been playing? It might be a surprise.
Some deep cuts.
There's like, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I mean, one of our best performing games is Grim freaking Fandango.
If you asked me, what would be our... Like,
if you guys came in on the Grim Fandango episodes hung around, you guys are baller. You guys are the cool people. But like, that's not a dumb statement I made. Let's take her home. Stateofthesave at gmail.com. State of Save, if you really want to be an OG, is where you can hit us up. We're still working on the Twitter. We got some success on the TikTok.
You say we're working on the Twitter. I've been making tweets.
Well, I know, but I'm saying we're building it because most of the listeners do not follow us on Twitter. Because I see the numbers of how many people listen, and I see the Twitter numbers, and most of them are not on there. So I'm saying we're building it because we, as a community, Michael, are building the Twitter. Because the listeners are just as important as me, you, and Nick.
If you're here from TikTok, also thank you.
Yes, the TikTok's actually done pretty decent. I'm kind of amazed we haven't been put on a watch list by having a bunch of old guys. Well, older. Well, we ain't Zoomers.
Not old.
Well, we're not.
Zoomers are
We're on the tail end of the millennial side.
Well, y'all are. Okay, I'm up towards that middle section. But TikTok's actually been pretty fun. If you don't follow us on TikTok, we throw some clips of the show up there and just some fun random stuff. But one thing I would love, feedback. I like the kind of setup of us doing some game talk, talking about the game we're playing, and then talking about some news at the end. If you like that, hit us up. Tell us you like it so we can keep doing it.
If not, we're going to do it anyway.
We're not supposed to tell them that, man.
Well, I'm giving them the option to write in
Send us
and
your
say,
feedback
no, stop
so we
this.
can ignore it.
I said last episode that this show is just entirely based on our whims. So, end of the day, it's all based on our whims, boys and girls. We do have some exciting stuff. We're very close to revealing a new exciting project that we've been working on. Should be coming up soon. And we continue to push along. Hope everybody enjoyed this episode. Stay safe out there. And we'll see you back next time for part 2 of Sleeping Dogs. See you.
Why Skyward Sword?